My name's Chris Grundy. I'm a freelance photographer based in Sydney, Australia. Photography for me is like a nice reminder just to stop and pause and enjoy what's around you. I generally use the 7200 as part of my daily kit, so to have something that's lightweight I can walk around all day is amazing. I love shooting surfing, I love shooting people, landscapes, just details I find in life. You know, it's such a nice focal length because it gives you that variety. This lens was so well balanced, and you can definitely feel the weight difference between this newer lens and the previous one. If you've got a big day or you're doing a full day shoot, any weight off your shoulders or off your hands is much appreciated. To have this 26% lighter than the previous model is a game changer, another reason why I would add this to my kit. It was nice to put the autofocus through the paces and see the variety of what it can do. Working with Jill, focusing on her face, eyes and movement, whilst there's a lot of things going in the foreground and background, it hit it every time. The bokeh in this lens was one of the things that I was most impressed with. It was so nice to see the results, even just off the back of the camera. We did a city test in low light, and to see all the lights illuminated behind the subject was pretty amazing. The biggest thing I've been impressed by this lens has been the minimal focal distance that you can focus at. At 70mm, you can focus at
0.38 meters,
and at 200mm, it's
0.8 meters.
That's such a game changer for everyday shooting. When I'm shooting fashion, there's generally a lot of jewellery involved. So when we were shooting these portraits in the Australian high sun in summer, it was really impressive to see that there was no colour fringing or chromatic aberration from the contrast of her skin tone all the way through to the jewellery. Having internal zoom in the elements of this camera is super helpful. It's so nice to have a lens so well balanced, and I find that whether that's on a gimbal or a handheld, when it comes to filming on a gimbal with this lens, you don't have to rebalance or recalibrate the camera because of the internal zoom, so that's very beneficial. When I was shooting and working with both models in the same frame, I had Eddie in the foreground and Jill in the background, and the angle of view didn't change when shifting focus between the two. Testing this lens over the past couple of days, I was pretty impressed by the lack of flares and ghosting this lens produced. Shooting a backlit scene, usually you get flares and ghosting, and this was definitely minimised. When shooting in low light conditions is when I tend to use a tripod. If you've got this lens with the Arca Swiss mount and you've got it set up on the tripod, it's such a quick release to be able to go from tripod to handheld, and having that switch between the two so smooth and quick is great. I shoot in so many different environments, from the ocean to being around sand, to being in the outback and shooting in dusty environments. So to have a lens that's so sealed and weatherproof is great because you want to protect your gear. Super impressed of how durable it is. And to be one of the first person in Australia to test this lens was such an honour. It's a perfect all-rounder lens for a professional photographer to a keen amateur. And I can't wait to add it to my kit.